Welcome to the Let's Get Entrepreneurial podcast, your go-to resource for navigating the world of entrepreneurship. In today's episode, we'll explore the concept of entrepreneurial seizure in depth, understanding its implications, and discuss strategies to transition effectively from a technician to a successful entrepreneur. Stay tuned as we delve into this transformative idea that has changed the landscape of entrepreneurship.
The Let's Get Entrepreneurial podcast is your ultimate launchpad for igniting ideas and skyrocketing your entrepreneurial dreams. Tune in, buckle up, and let's unleash the entrepreneurial spirit within. Your two hosts will be Professor Gary Palin and serial entrepreneur Ryan Budden.
Hello, Ryan. How are you doing today?
I'm doing very well. What about you?
I'm doing well. Ryan, today we're going to attempt our third time trying to record an episode about the entrepreneurial seizure. Because of weather problems, our internet stability has been issued. We're hoping this time, the third time is a charm.
Yeah, exactly right. Never thought I'd be going to New York this weekend from Nashville to get into a warmer climate.
That's truly amazing. You've had some tough weather in Nashville.
Oh yeah, -2 degrees last night.
The entrepreneurial seizure is a concept that's been around for a number of years. I first heard about it from Michael Gerber's book, The E-Myth Revisited, and that was published quite a few years ago. As a matter of fact, I don't even think you had started school. It was in 1995 that it was first published.
No, I'd probably be preparing for elementary school.
So it's been around for quite a while, but basically the concept that Gerber introduced talks about a pivotal moment in an individual, often a skilled technician or a professional in their field, and they decide impulsively to start a business. The decision is driven by desire for independence or frustration with their current job, rather than a clear plan for running a successful business.
Absolutely. It sounds like a familiar path.
Many people will do this, and they tend to either choose something they enjoy very much or something that they have specific technical skills in. And there's a common misperception among many people, even to this day, is the belief that a technical skill will directly translate to success in running a business.
Yeah, that's right. People think because they're really very good at one specific thing that they can make a business out of it.
As we know, successful entrepreneurship revolves around multiple skills, and how Gerber will frame it is in three particular skills. One is managerial skills, a second is entrepreneurial skills, and then the third is a technical skill. And he maintains you need a blend of all three, and I would concur with that.
Do you have a really specific example we can give the listeners?
Yes, definitely. I'll make it very simple. See Jane, she's a talented baker and she loves baking. See Jane open her bakery. See Jane struggle with the aspects of a business beyond baking. See Jane hate baking.
There we go. I love it. Very simple.
Very, very simple. Someone loves baking, has the technical skills, opens the bakery because of her love of baking in this case, struggles with the concept that she's running a business, and then she learns to hate what she loved previously. And very often when I see this, say, for example, I'll see an auto mechanic do this. They tend to say, I'm doing all the work and the owner of the business is making all the money. I'm going to open up my shop and I'll make all the money. They envision themselves just moving from their current job as an auto mechanic to their own business. What they fail to realize is their job has changed. They're no longer an auto mechanic, they're a business owner. Totally different skills. That's the concept of an entrepreneurial seizure, is you're impulsively starting the business.
I actually have a personal story that aligns pretty spot on with what we're talking about. I was burnt out in the technology industry at one phase of my life and started a party planning business. In essence, it was a high-end concierge service, and started taking groups to the places that I was super familiar with and loved, and very quickly realized I then hated those places because all these places that I loved and took groups to became work. So anytime I was there for myself, I felt like I was working. So I took this thing that I loved, which was organizing events, finding new places, turned it into a profession, and quickly hated doing all of those things.
It's a very, very common problem, and people will fall into that trap consistently. And as you say, with your personal experience, you can relate to it directly.
That's exactly right.
And a problem that is faced is with the seizure or the impulse. It very often lacks a foundational of market research, lacks a business plan and financial projections. There's minimal or no risk assessment. There's no assessment of resource management, therefore leading to inefficient resources. Many reasons will cause the failure of the business. Where if you're looking at it from a calculated decision, as we've talked about many times in previous podcasts, versus doing minimal research, we're encouraging people to do extensive market research, do detailed business planning, financial projections, really seriously look at the risk assessment and understanding the resource of time, money, and human capital. For those who aspire to go higher in their entrepreneurial journey, we've got something just for you. Coming up next, unleash your entrepreneurial potential with the Janus Entrepreneurial Report. In just a few minutes, discover your unique entrepreneurial strengths, areas for growth, and tailored strategies for success. Whether you're a seasoned business owner or just starting out, the Janus Entrepreneurial Report is your roadmap to entrepreneurial excellence. Visit profspirit.com today and take the first step towards transforming your business vision into reality. The future of your enterprise starts now. Now, let's dive back into our journey of entrepreneurial insights.
This concept really speaks to a bigger issue that people have a really hard time understanding the value that others are providing to a role. So if you're stuck in your role and someone else is working tangentially, you're not working with them, it's really hard to understand the value that they're providing to the common goal. This is a great example. The auto mechanic providing a ton of value to fix that car, but they're not seeing that the owner is doing the inventory, doing the marketing, doing the payment processing, all of these other tangential things that might not look like a lot of work from the perspective of the actual mechanic, but are driving that end goal of having a successful car shop quite dramatically.
One of the pushes for me to go to college way back when I was a young man was from my father, who was a laborer. He didn't have a college education at this point. Later on, he went and got a degree as he was older, which is very admirable unto itself. As a laborer, he was doing all of the physical work, and he would always complain the managers do nothing but get paid a lot more. He didn't want his son to be a laborer. He wanted me to be the manager who, quote, did nothing and got paid a lot more. He encouraged me and pushed me to study business.
And that's what you're doing, right? Doing nothing and get paid a lot more.
Oh, I wish that were the case.
Don't we both? I think there's a grass is the greener effect with that as well.
And we're not disparaging physical labor, but understanding there is a distinction. Both takes effort. One is not easier and one is not, I'm doing nothing. You're both doing something, and ideally, both are adding value.
That's exactly right.
One of the concepts Gerber wrote about in his book is the results of business failures are created because of misunderstanding this. People have this illusion of competence of driving a business where they have no background in that. They lack those management and entrepreneurial skills. And very often they become overwhelmed by the multiple roles that they have to deal with. They don't understand the systems and processes, and they just underestimate the challenges of entrepreneurship.
Until you're in the weeds, it's really hard to see how deep they are. Until you're actually in that role, it's hard to imagine the complexities of it.
I would recommend to bridge the gap, develop those entrepreneurial skills, or partner with someone who has those skills. But that gap needs to be bridged.
That's where a healthy partnership comes into play. And we've talked about this a lot of times. You analyze your strengths and weaknesses, and a great partnership is bringing someone on that complements that. So they have a strength in what you have a weakness.
Now, the good news is I'm assuming anyone that's a regular listener of our podcast has been proactively going out to garner information directly from our episodes, and other times from directions we point them to gather information. For example, many times we have said, get involved in your local entrepreneurship centers.
Yeah, those are great places to go.
We have done episodes about mentoring and coaching. The issues that they're facing, also time management, delegation of problems that they run into, understanding the financial components of that, which is critical knowledge. Also, if you're looking to drive a scalable venture, what are fundraising skills to acquire external funds to drive your business? Those are all factors and strategies that someone that is sitting in this situation, if they're listening to us saying, damn, that's me, those will be areas that I would suggest are strategies to overcome those challenges.
Absolutely. Even as simply as how do you actually start the business? How do you form an LLC? How do you get a bank account to manage it properly? Little things like that are difficult when you haven't done it before. And we talk a lot about the concept of a serial entrepreneur, someone that does this over and over and over again. And that's typically why you see that speed up process, because once you've done it once, you know how to do it. It's sort of opening the curtain.
That's why I encourage individuals that have never done this to get an accountant that is familiar with this process in your local area, because it will vary from region to region. Also, an attorney that understands the issues that you're facing in your local area. Ironically, just this morning, I received an email from my registered agent of information they needed to process my annual reports with the state of North Carolina. Those are support systems that you need up front, and even to this day, I use them.
Absolutely. And it is also one of those things, month after month, quarter after quarter, I think, dang, if only I knew that last year. I've been doing this since I graduated college. The learning never stops.
Well, I've been doing this since I graduated from college also, but that was a few years before that.
Just a few.
There is an expression, and I forget who actually stated that. I have to go back and look it up. But it's the more I learn, the more I realize how little I know.
Yeah, it's classic and so accurate.
Yeah, I've embraced that throughout my whole career. Anyone who thinks they know everything knows nothing.
There we go.
Any final thoughts on words of wisdom to our listeners regarding the concept of the entrepreneurial seizure?
Just that we all fall trap to the entrepreneurial seizure. I think that it's something that creative, hardworking people are going to often think. Understanding that this is a process that catches us all, taking that pause to analyze whether it's that seizure is something you should act on is the overarching lesson of what we're trying to put out there.
Definitely. And my parting words are read The E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber.
Great book. Let's bring it back.
Sounds good. Well, let's get entrepreneurial.
Let's get entrepreneurial.
As we wrap up another episode of the Let's Get Entrepreneurial podcast, we extend our gratitude for your presence and attention. Your dedication to the entrepreneurial spirit fuels our passion for creating this podcast. Check out profspirit.com to discover resources and courses designed specifically for innovators like you. Stay on the cutting edge by following us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, YouTube, and other platforms as it is released. Until then, keep the entrepreneurial flame burning.